So I'm Captain Farah Khan Pete. I have been a commercial airline pilot for more than 25 years now, having worked in the capacity as a trainer, that is a check pilot with one of the leading airlines in India, which is Jet Airways India Limited. And I'm
Hmm.
still a part of the airline and looking forward for more adventurous journeys in the future. In the meanwhile, I'm also a certified life transformation coach. I help students with career counseling and pilot mentorship, trying my best to guide them as much as possible from our end because we have seen both sides of the world. So I really want to make their journey as smooth and easy as possible. So I get invitations from various organizations for seminars. Webinars is not much these days, maybe once a while,
Hmm.
but most of the time I'm doing seminars. Then
Hmm.
I'm a motivational speaker. I do a lot of women empowerment seminars on the same, and I
Hmm.
look forward for a lot of, especially girls, joining aviation, especially as pilots, because we need a much bigger workforce in that area. And
Hmm.
I'm an author of my book, Conquering the Blue Skies, my journey to becoming a pilot. The book was written so that the aspiring pilots, especially girls, can realize that no matter what difficulties you go through your life, you can always overcome them and move ahead to your
Hmm.
dreams, what you have always thought of achieving. So the book was written with that intention. It talks about a few difficulties I've faced on my way to becoming a pilot,
Hmm.
and I've got a very good response. So that's about it. And now I have my own aviation training center. We were concentrating on cabin crew training, but we have come down to student counseling because the demand in the market is more. Students want to get proper guidance when it comes to aviation. It's a very complex industry. If you don't know anyone, then it can mislead you to somewhere else. So we are helping the students with career counseling over there. And as a life coach, I help couples and help airline staff, name it, any department, pilots, cabin crew, ground staff, air traffic controllers, in creating a system for de stressing. So
Hmm.
that's my journey so far.
All right, that was actually a pretty elaborate one, but yeah, that's so interesting. I mean, it's been so transitioning. Could you tell me what was your reason? Why did you went into student counseling from being a pilot? I mean, what is there any personal reason which inspired you to pursue the same?
Absolutely, Simran. You know what? My personal journey was not an easy one because I had no mentor or godfather or, in that way, no one at all in the field of aviation. So I had tremendous challenges. So when now I see the kids who want to move ahead and pursue their career in aviation, especially as pilots, I feel it is a responsibility, the accumulated number of experience one has. If we cannot use it in the right way, then I feel it's a waste of time and energy what we have put in. So having more than 2 decades of experience, close to 3 decades, it gives me immense pleasure when they come to me. And it began during COVID when the kids used to come and ask for guidance on whether they are suitable to become a pilot or a cabin crew and how is the field. They used to ask me in depth, so I used to call them for meetings online. Everything was online. So then I used to hold webinars for kids who are more than 10 numbers. And then various organizations, they started approaching me where I was doing, it was like a voluntary job from my side. And I realized, yeah, it's helping a lot. The kids were happy. The parents started joining us, and they wanted a complete structure of how things work in aviation, especially as a pilot. And that's
Hmm.
how I started with student counseling. I said, why not? So
And
yeah.
oh, that's actually pretty interesting. I mean, things fell in place. Why? What has been the query which comes to you most, or which most of the students are curious about? What
Oh,
do you?
there's plenty. To begin with, they want to know what it takes to become a pilot. Then how is the field of aviation? How is the environment? And what are the struggles? That's a common question being asked. What is the money factor? That's another important question on part of the parents, which has been asked. So
Mm-hmm.
financially, are there loans available and how do we arrange for one? Then flying schools, how is technology? Do we need the qualifications as well? So they come up with series of questions which are very common and it's covered everywhere. But I feel, though internet is easily accessible to everyone and anyone, but it does not give you the proper knowledge. You cannot go on Google, search some data, and on that basis you cannot decide that this is what I'm looking as my career path. No, you need proper guidance, and this is where I feel really helps the knowledge what we have gained, so that you can structure each and every step in a systematic way, process it, understand, digest the difficult parts that will come on your way, and then go ahead with it. Then the charm is totally different. The pros and cons and the perks what are attached to it. Then it becomes a little easier ride than what it would have been. So student counseling, I think pilot mentorship especially plays a crucial role. And now most of the parents want that before the kid gets absorbed in an airline or goes for training. So that's the insight I've got from various students and parents as well.
And how often do you think the students are interested as in what do they think about mentorship? How are they able to find their mentors? What is the how is the industry doing on the same with respect from the students' perspective? How much are they interested?
Yeah,
What do you
because when
think?
I do pilot mentorship, it comes to me as a surprise when they say you're the first person whom we have come across with so much of, huge amount of experience, background, and who's ready to help us. So it comes to me as a surprise, and I think there's a huge scope in the market, and different organizations, who have their training centers, they have to take this up where maybe a retired pilot or someone who is voluntarily ready to working in an airline as well as give some time, it will help a lot to the younger generation. So I've seen, I mean, it was a surprise factor for me for sure to know that when 90% of the students told me you're the first one whom we came across for pilot mentorship. So I've not really done a research on that. So obviously, I'm happy with that factor, but we need that. It's got a huge amount of scope. So we need more pilots volunteering and coming ahead to help them.
And how do you think so it as in you and we come from a consultancy part, but how do you think that students could approach the pilots? How could they find out who to approach, how to approach? What do you have any suggestion for the students?
I would say, the flying schools, they can organize um, one session in probably quarterly years where the students come and interact with the airline pilot who's on job or who's retired. Like when I get calls from various aviation centers to either come online or offline, be a guest speaker or chief guest or a guest of honor, whatever role they want, I'm available. Similarly, the students, I think so, aviation centers, if they come up with quarterly gatherings where the students will have on-site knowledge from the pilot talking to them in uniform and share their daily experiences, it will be of great help. So the centers can decide on this factor. Like even you guys, you can have once quarterly is enough. It will help. Unless there's more demand, then I think monthly will be the better option. But as of now, I've seen quarterly. It will be of great help to everyone around.
Super, fair enough. That's very because I have found with reference to the students who've been talking, they know mentorship is important, but there has been a gap in wanting a mentor and having a mentor. So I think
Very
that's very big gap in the industry at this
yeah.
point.
No, so for whoever is come under me, they're still in touch. Like I started this in 2019 somewhere, and those kids are still in touch because they feel we have a backup. Anything and everything, they can come up with something very basic also. That ma'am, where do we get this calculator from? So for me, I'm not a person who would say, "What are you asking me? It's this question and
Yeah.
all. You should ask your friends." No. So I take one step ahead and I'm like, okay, this is the resources. I'm giving you the choices. You can just find out from there and all. So I have students from 2019 mentorship batch who are still in touch and all. So it's been continual. I have I would say close to 150 to 200 students who are still in touch and who wants me to be there all the while, now they join airlines. So I'm like, now you don't need me anymore. My pilot mentoring job is done, but they feel good. And I realize this importance because Simran, for me also, if had I had someone whom I would always look up at, you feel there's always a backup available for you. No matter what happens, whether it's good or bad, you have someone to talk to and discuss and then take a sound decision. So it does help a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. How so with respect to the students who've been talking, they have said that they found it a little difficult to get in touch with their mentor. They feel hesitant, especially the students who have just joined the industry.
Right.
Or so, what do you think that how could how what do you think that do you have any suggestions for them? How could they approach their mentor or their instructors to have a more open conversation and to have a more guidance?
True. I think we need more platforms on that where they
Mm-hmm.
can connect with, as I told you, you can connect with different airlines. Get few people who are willing to come online and help the kids and all. We don't need to be in person for that. So we need more platforms or something, some means of communication where you can share the details of so and so person. And if the student is having any issues, they can contact. But then we need a structure even for that. It has to be something definite, not just in the air that okay, you can connect through this, maybe someone will come online and guide you. No, we need a definite plan for that, and I feel there has to be a platform. So the only way I
Mm-hmm.
can think of right now is rather than haphazardly, kids, they meet up with someone and then they're like, oh, you're an airline pilot, can have your number. This is what used to be the earlier usual things for me,
Mm-hmm.
where the kids used to connect and they used to call and then they used to come and meet and all. But then you have to come across that person. So if you have a platform or any other ways where pilots are available online 24/7, and whoever wants to aspire their career as a pilot, they can come online, chat with them, ask them
Mm-hmm.
the difficult parts and all, whatever queries they have in their mind before they begin, and then go ahead with the career. Yeah, it's a beautiful career, but it needs proper guidance for sure.
And with respect to, so this is something which can happen in the future. Presently, we don't really have that system. So, what do you think that how could students today reach out to pilots to mentor them, to have
This
guidance?
this is the only way I can think of, Simran. Otherwise, if you guys are working very hard, I've spoken to Manpinder on quite a lot of occasions, and when he explains me what you're headed to, it's amazing. I've never heard of such a system which is so pilot friendly, and especially when it comes to different aspects of getting in this field, getting your work done. It's quite tedious. You tend to keep flying aside, and then you have to worry about different aspects. Similarly, for pilot mentorship, I would say if you guys can come up with a platform and invite pilots from various airlines, whoever it
Mm-hmm.
is, and I don't think so anyone would say no. It's not like full time you're not utilizing them. On occasions, you will send across the invite to them and get the students under your panel so that they can ask questions to the required number of pilots you have selected to talk on that particular day. It will help a lot.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree with you. And
Because now especially it's
mm,
online scope is tremendous. Like
yeah.
digital is the thing. Post COVID, everyone is realizing any corner of the world you can be connected. So I think if you can get something online like this, you will have to connect with various airlines and tell them the system how it is working and all, and you don't need too much efforts also. It's just like a half an hour which anyone can easily give. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they can
Yeah.
discuss in depth what the current scenario is, how are things moving, how what all different things they can have options as available and all. So yeah, we definitely need a platform for that.
I agree with you, ma'am. There has been a lot of gap I've been seeing as well. What do you think about the application? So we have covered the consultancy parts, how students need it, and what we're doing, what could we do in the future? What do you think apart from the consultancy part? What about the documentation? What about the process of pilot application? How have the students been performing? What have been their gaps? What could be the solutions? Do you have any suggestions on the
Oh
same?
yeah, absolutely. I think technology wise, everywhere in all the industries, especially in aviation, is evolved a lot over the period of time from what we have seen. For us, it was just paperwork. So it was hands-on knowledge about everything we used to have. Now everything is available at the click of a button, and the system which is available, whether it's from your end or from DGCA, it will be easy provided there's something based on that system, just like a demo or something given to the students. Like for my personal experience, when I was applying, I went through, after speaking to Manpinder, I went through the whole process of how to go about. And all, since you guys were there, it became a smooth ride for me. But the glitches happened when I connected with DGC on EGC website directly, trying to upload few documents because they clearly don't mention few aspects. Now, for us to find out what exactly are the requirements, you need to go on another platform, which is again on DGC website, dgc.nic. Once you go there, you have to go through a huge manual to find out where you fit in and what went wrong. And the numbers provided, I had tough time connecting with them because the people who are present, I think they're also still undergoing the study of the new system which is developed by them. So they're like students over there. For them, half of the time when you ask, like, this is the problem, what do I do? So like, it's all mentioned on our website. You'll have to go through that. So that doesn't help. They have to come up with more practical ways of having human resources, not a shortage in our country, with the population we have. So they can definitely come up with a contact point where, besides digital apps available for making our lives simple, there has to be a person present on the other line whom you can talk to and discuss what issues you're going through. Because like me, I've heard a few cases where the kids have tried to apply for getting a commercial pilot's license, and it took them so much time. They had to go for getting their recency redone again from abroad, and spending so much of money already for the training and then redoing. It's a discouragement. So besides, it's beautifully done. The technology is way advanced, it's beautifully done. Everything is available. But if the information is not being distributed to the students properly, then it's of no use. There has to be someone guiding them all the time. So it can be a proper demo page where the kids can see the demo first and then go ahead with the application, or someone in present doing a presentation or talking to the person, talking them down and telling them where they might have gone wrong to get it corrected beforehand. So yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty, yeah. That would be great. It's pretty confusing right now.
It
And
is.
that's,
It's still under
yeah.
process. Yeah, but it's still work in progress. So
Yeah,
even they are
we
getting
agree.
used to it, So
Hmm.
it will take some time, but nevertheless, yeah, it's amazing. It's going to make lives easier.
Hmm. Very true, ma'am. That's the very reason we've been working through with students, and at times for the very same reason, it takes a lot of time for the iterations. There are these so many new things keep on happening, little minute changes.
Mm.
That's the very reason.
Like, you cannot learn in the process when the system is already been laid down. It's for making the student's life easier. But if the student is first learning in the process by doing the mistakes, undoing it, then again applying, then coming to know something new, which was, for them it was something else, and then they realize, then it's like, the system has glitches. Then the expertise better take care of it and then put it on the platform so that it's easy for everyone to use.
hmm, that's very true, ma'am. We've been facing the same issues. The very reason, at times there are a few people, they say that why do you need a consultancy services to do your documentation? It's just documentation. Or the very, because we know what has been happening, what are gaps. It takes time. We've been through
Mm,
the no through the manuals. It's pretty confusing. I think that's where
absolutely.
math comes in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very true. And may I know, with respect to the students, so I've been seeing that students who aspire to be pilots, they have this priority of having of I want to fly Boeing, or I want to fly Airbus, or this particular. So what do you think about that? How important is that to have a particular type rating for a pilot, and do they really need it? What is your take on that? for
Of
students?
Well, I would say now because of AI, and as we are talking about the software and advance in technology and all, people prefer flying an aircraft which where not many manual inputs are required. So it has to be completely automation based. That's the reason for me, 90% of the students who come to me for counseling or for pilot mentorship, they prefer Airbus because it's the state of the aircraft and it's easier machine to fly. And the scope of them joining anywhere in the world is universally available. Now, Boeing, there's shortage of pilots because the machine is not available with all the airlines. So the preference is in the market, what's the scope for them joining an airline easily rather than having an endorsement of an aircraft, which is very limited airlines prefer to keep with them. One is that, second is the advancement in machine, easy job. You don't want to work too hard. And nowadays kids are too much into technology, so they prefer something which is easily accessible. And Airbus far more better machine than Boeing. Second, third is if you ask my personal favorite, I would say if you want to get the hang of flying and have some sort of adventure in flight, then Boeing is a machine which you should prefer starting your beginning days with and then advance towards an Airbus. So it's a choice, it's a matter of choice, Simran. When I come across this question, when the kids ask whether I should go on Boeing or Airbus, for me, the first answer, depending on what the context of the question is, if it's just from like I'm starting my training, I'm halfway through my commercial pilot's license, I intend to join for becoming an airline pilot. So should I join for Airbus or Boeing? For me, it's like wherever you get a job, that plays more vital role. Once
Yeah.
you once you get that experience, then you decide whether you have a choice. And if you have a
Mhm.
choice, why not? Then you go ahead and decide you want to fly a Boeing or an Airbus. So the most important key factor here is getting a job, irrespective of what aircraft you fly. It could be smaller, maybe a private jet or a Cessna, where you're flying as a flight instructor in the flying schools, or you join an airline where they have turboprops and all. Getting a job is a must. First, you get the job, get your experience, then you decide, and you can apply anywhere in the world then.
Mhm.
So I don't think so it should boil down to whether it's a Boeing or an Airbus. Yeah.
True, ma'am. Agreed. Um, and do you have any suggestions with respect to, you said you have shared in the beginning that most of the students share their struggles, they have their problems, they come up with problems with whatever they're struggling with. What struggles do you think that, what are these struggles, what have students been struggling, the aspiring pilots have been struggling with at present?
Right now, there's a confusion because there's so many choices available. So to begin with, for me, the most important question is when you are saying that you want to pursue your career as a pilot, why have you decided that factor? Because becoming a pilot, I don't think so it's everyone's job. You have to understand what you have to go through. As the whole environment changes. It's not 9 to 5 job, or it's not an office job, or unlike any other what they would have thought about. It's something which your mind and your body has to be ready with. You go through harsh environments, your training is intensive. About that, you need to spend huge amount of money, which eventually, if you realize, oh, this is not something for me, then it's a waste of time. So
Hmm.
once they jot down this, that it's a passion, you have to have that burning desire. When they come to know that, yes, this is what I want, ma'am, and when they discuss that, yes, I want to be a pilot, I'm aware of the pros and cons. Now you tell me what are the difficulties we can face. So for me, it's like I cannot tell them, see, during our time this was a problem, this used to happen, all because days have changed. I never compare to, we did this, so you guys are getting. No, what's happening right now, what are the choices available? Most confusing statement by them is this: the list is enormous. We're not able to decide on training schools, whether, and that too, whether we want to do in India or abroad, because now training duration is almost the same. Then which school is the best? Whether I should get my multi-engine rating, and once I get it, do I go for cadet program or not? So this is the list of confusions they have. Like they know what it takes to become a pilot. But the confusion starts with aviation training centers, India or abroad, whether I should go for multi or not, whether I should join as a flight instructor once I'm done or not, whether I should immediately apply for a job. So these are the set of questions they come up with. These are very common. I think in all my student counseling, I've come across these questions. Nothing related to something which is offbeat from aviation. So very simple questions, very simple answers, and it puts me into more thinking, Simran, when I realize that yeah, everything is available, on Google. So you guys must have done your research, obviously the salary part as well. Most of them want to know what's the salary of pilots, which should not be a key factor in deciding. So when you Google search what it takes to become a pilot, you get series of pages, So I'm like, you have all this at your disposal, but still there's a confusion. So for me, everything is available, but again, the guidance. This is the best school. Why is it best? Why you should go over here? Depending on the individual, I help them decide and narrow down on the flying school and what course further, and whether you should go for cadet or not cadet. Then further, from where you should do the cadet programming and all. So then it comes in line. But their beginning question is something very simple, but they're still confused with.
Yeah,
Just sharing my experience. Yeah.
Yeah. The list goes on and on, as you just said. Yeah.
It does, yeah. Though everything is available, and still, you feel like, oh my God, everything is available, but still nothing is there. So
True.
I think this is where they need the guidance most importantly.
Yeah. What about the parents? What do they think? How involved are they, in the decision making, and what are the different types of parents you've seen, the families, the guardians, most probably? What is their approach?
For them, most important factor is how much is it going to cost me? How do I arrange for loans? Are there any sponsorships? And what is a career prospect when it comes to aviation? Where will my kid be down the line, 5 years, 10 years from now? Do I see them joining an airline, like if they are interested in joining an airline? So they come up with questions where they want to know whether how definite this career is. So for me, it's like you cannot really say definitely certain things because there's medical history involved. You can have issues eventually. You cannot predict what's going to happen in your flying training, as well as maybe you join an airline, whether the future of that airline is going to remain as bright as it is today. So it's a very unpredictable. Aviation is unpredictable, and that's where the mindset they have to be prepared. For me, the most important is if your kid is ready and if you're ready to support the child, there's nothing like it. You have to go ahead with it. So the parental question is most importantly is about money, Simran. Like they don't care about anything else.
Yeah.
For them, oh, okay, this much money. Are the banks ready to give us easy loans? How is the process? So for that, I have to send them to the bank. I said, I don't have much knowledge. You let it go. And the sponsorship, which all schools are ready for the sponsorship. And then they have heard about cadet programming. So how useful it is. Will the kid be absorbed by the airline as promised, or will we have certain struggles even over there? So these are the very few, but they want to know.
What do you think about this? About, as in, do you have any suggestions? Do you have any suggestions for students? So this video will be seen by students. Do you think that you can share something so that they could share with their parents, because they might be having the same issue with respect to money? How much will it cost? So what advice do you have for the students? How would you like them to? What's your point on?
Yeah, for me, whether you're becoming a doctor, engineer, which was very common early days, now you can be anyone. For me, as far as you have a passion for becoming a pilot, and your parents are ready to support you in any way it comes, then all you have to do is maybe get a guidance from whichever platform you prefer. You want to join a training school or you want to go to MAV Safety, yeah, you guys have been doing a fabulous job. So whether they approach you Once they've decided, then I think there's no stopping. There shouldn't be two ways, or there shouldn't be any doubt in their mind. So once they've decided, they should just go ahead. And it's a simple process. And as I told you, uh, before you go ahead, whether you are becoming a pilot because you saw your neighbor having a
Hmm.
fancy lifestyle and all, so don't go on the looks someone is portraying. It's much more than what you see. So it's just not, about the glams and glamour. It involves much more hard work than what one can imagine. So you have to be prepared with all these things.
True that. Being a woman in the industry, I have been with India. In India, there are a lot of women pilots who are involved. What do you think? How is the industry doing on the gender discrimination? Because most of the pilots are men. When we say
Hmm.
pilot, people assume it's a man. So
Yeah.
what do you think? How has the industry evolved, and how is it going? How is it
Um,
evolving?
yeah, it has definitely evolved. As you must be aware, India has the highest number of population of lady pilots in aviation as compared to rest of the world. Irrespective, Simran, we still need to evolve when it comes to gender discrimination because that still remains a hot topic in aviation. And even today, when I've been called, by schools or universities for giving a speech to the students related to aviation, they write my name as Captain Farah Khan Pethe. So 90% of the kids are thinking it's a male they're going to see. So they get taken aback when I come on the stage and I introduce myself. I'm Captain Farah Khan Pete. So it's not an easy feeling, that you're
Yeah.
still where we have gone through generations, and we talk about India advancing in the proper direction and all. But when you see these small things, it's a big setback on part of our country and on part of our democracy. So I think we are still lagging behind a lot with the rest of the world, irrespective of ladies leading as pilots in various airlines and all. It's still work in progress. We still need more awareness for women to join this field as a pilot. And yeah, my experience has been again shocking. So I wouldn't say that it's been taken care of. It still remains a part of the talk. And when I speak to the new girls who have joined aviation, and when I get the feedback of how it was and all, there is still some sort of comparisons happening. So,
Mm-hmm.
like small things like, okay, this emergency, let's not give her, let's give it to him. So this is a small aspect I'm talking about. And it goes on, it keeps on increasing and all. So we need more women workforce in airline training departments, safety department, in DGCA. Already, yeah, they're taking a lot of ladies, but still that workforce of women has to increase so that aviation is understood not based on gender bias factors, just based on
Mm-hmm.
safety regulations and taking care of the customers. It should be based on that. So
Mm-hmm.
gender discrimination, oh my god, it's going to remain. I don't know how long the topic is going to remain, which era is going to get eradicated as much as possible, but it still remains. The problem still people are facing. It's something you don't want to talk about, but that's again the reality.
Okay.
So yeah.
So being such an experienced person in the industry, if that's your take, what do you I mean? I am pretty sure the girls who are new to the field, it would be pretty difficult for them. So do you have any suggestion for them how to face it, what to do?
Oh yes, absolutely. So whenever I've got calls from girls who have so many questions in line when it comes to gender, so I had the privilege of talking to them and giving them my, in depth experience and explaining to them how things move in the right direction. So they want to be again. Those are the people, the students who want to be under me all the time. It's a moment of pride as well as a moment of worry for me, Simran, frankly, uh, because when you're depending on someone so much all the time, then you don't progress. So I feel you have to face your struggles. You have to go out of my shadow, what I've created. I've given them the umbrella. They want to stay in the umbrella all the time. So when they
Mhm.
come to me, or the question is, what do you think? I cannot compare to the problems we have faced during our time. I need to know what's happening now.
Mhm.
So when we hear about training days, or my colleagues' kids are flying, they're girls. I cannot compare them to them because they have a support system available. So I have to totally depend on someone who don't who doesn't have anyone in aviation and is joined and is facing certain issues, which she shares with me, and then I can help other girls move on with. So for the girls, I feel that it's a huge industry. There's a lot of scope. Flying is beautiful. All they need to remember is how to carry themselves strongly, mentally and physically. You have to have a fitness regime. You have to have a very strong mental attitude, because not every person you're flying with is going to digest the fact they have a female with them. Whether you're a captain or a co-pilot, so not everyone digests that fact. So you have to be very strong, hard hearted. You have to be following each and every norm of the airline and make it a point that you're thoroughly professional. You have to be at the top of the bar all the time. So it's not easy being a female pilot, but it's a beautiful, irrespective, it's a beautiful experience. So whoever has come to me, from wherever, I have told them, yeah, you should go ahead with it. And we need more females joining this
Mhm.
industry. So I've told them, things have changed now. There is posh rules and regulations have been implemented by airlines. So it's a safe environment. Little bit factors here and there you can always handle. And there are departments in various airlines available, or even in flying training centers, where you can approach them and speak your heart out if you're facing some sort of gender bias factors. So it's a beautiful field. And as a lady pilot, I'm always proud of. I'm still proud of, really.
Ah, yeah, it's lovely. I can see it on your face.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
that's so
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah,
true.
do that. Now it was great talking to you, ma'am. I mean, I've gotten so many insights about the industry, about your work, about the students, the counseling. Do you have any do you think that there's any suggestions or any suggestions you'd like to give to the students which we haven't covered yet?
I would just like to tell them that no matter what, if you have the desire to become a pilot, all you need to know is, once they join in aviation and they want to become a pilot, the most confusing part is everyone thinks the most common factor is they want to become a pilot because they want to join an airline. But I've come across cases not necessarily for an airline. It can be you want to become a flying school instructor, or you want to join armed forces, or you want to become a helicopter, a charter pilot, or a hobby flyer. So, very beginning question I would just ask them is, once you feel that yes, it's your dream, it's in your blood, and you want to go ahead with this career, perfect. Now, what is it that you want to do once you're finished your training? It shouldn't be that you started first doing something and then you realize, oh, I wanted to be a charter pilot, then I didn't have to go through this process. So they have to decide on what finally their aim in life is going to be. Based on that, take a step back and start working the process in the reverse way. That way, they will get a clarity of where they're heading to, what they want to do, and everything will be crystal clear in their mind as to how to go about. So that planning
Mhm.
plays a key role in deciding, ultimately, I want to reach this position. They will have to plan out everything properly. Otherwise, it's hurdles. It's just full of hurdles and too many different things. It it comes as a shock on your way. So to avoid, getting into those sort of waves, small time difficulties is a part of life. You have to face them, otherwise you'll never learn. But coming across something which is a big shocker, it can be devastating. So that's the reason I feel, know where you're heading, know what you're getting into, and work your 100%, give your 100%, put your 100%, no matter what you're doing in life, and everything works out in your favor. So you can
True
shine
that.
like a star.
Yeah, true that. Okay. I think we've covered I'm just checking. I think we've covered all the questions and even more than what we wanted to talk about, we had thought of. So yeah, do you have any last minute suggestions for students, uh, who are confused about selecting their flight training schools? Do you have any suggestions for them? What should they, with respect to India or going abroad, or what should they do?
Yeah, there's a personal choice, Simran. Once they
Mhm.
decide whether India or abroad, only very important factor would be whether it's recognized. Like in India, it has to be DGCA approved school, or if they're going abroad, it has to be recognized by the authorities over there. So that's the only thing which I tell. Where is
Mhm.
placed, and then other parts come, like what are the facilities, what's the training cost, what's the difference coming if I decide to fly abroad, how is the conversion, I want to come back to India, so how is the conversion. So again, uh, the first thing that should click to them, is it approved or is it not approved, that's it. And then once they jot down the list of approved schools in India or abroad, then they can decide on which one to select based on the facilities. So try to go for everything available in that package. So it's accommodation, food, your training cost, your paperwork, your travel cost, your visa processes, then help required for acquiring your licenses. Everything suits, then they don't have to think about the money part because it's a big headache otherwise.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
the
I.
beginning. It's the beginning of a beautiful new adventure. And then once you set course for that, you come across so many beautiful moments in life. You're making so many stories in your life to remember down the line and all. It's amazing. It's like the perks of flying, apart from I usually discuss a lot of difficulties because then you're ready. And when
Yeah.
the good part comes, it's like, wow, this is nice. We've not told. You don't have to
Yeah.
learn anything in life to know the good part. You have to get the knowledge of what can be really difficult on your way to becoming someone in life. So for me, I concentrate 80% of my talks is based on what are the difficulties you'll face, the struggles and all. And 20% I give them the good picture and all. So that once you experience it at a much, wider scale, you
Uh,
enjoy it. So yeah, it's amazing.
that's lovely. That's pretty. That's a lovely way to portray it.
Hmm.
Mm, that's amazing, ma'am.
No, and
Mhm.
nobody regrets, being in aviation, especially becoming a pilot. And due some
Mhm.
reasons or the other, if you cannot be a pilot, there's so many departments available. So not necessary, you have to go for what you decided. Your destiny, I always feel the destiny has surprises. Just go for it, no matter what it is. And just give your 100%.
Yeah.
Miracles do happen every single day. I have witnessed myself a lot of changes from being a pilot. The amount of things I've done in my life is much more. I've never thought I'm going to be a life coach or a speaker or an author or, being a CEO or leading women empowerment groups and all. I never thought of all these things. It just came.
Yeah.
So the universe has its own way of showing things. Just go, open your arms, embrace it, and a lot of beautiful things happen in your life.
True that, ma'am. That's very, very true. Yeah, it was lovely talking to you. There've been so many good moments. Thank
Thank
you so much,
you.
ma'am. Thank
Thank
you
you
for your
so
time.
much. What a pleasure talking to you, to Simran. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
having me,
ma'am.
and
Thank
wishing
you,
all the
ma'am.
kids all the best in life. And you take care of yourself. Yeah.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so
Bye.
much for your time. Bye, bye.
Bye.